decided today things would be different. For one thing, he wouldn't spend most of the morning wallowing in his bed, drinking cups of coffee.
Hey, Kyle.
And for another, he would seriously start to clear away some of his
Brandon.
pieces,
Brandon.
which he'd been meaning to do for some time.
What are you doing?
It's Mern Buchstanziger.
He's a naked troll with clogs.
He's going naked time.
He would try to
Little naked.
Are we gonna need an explicit rating for this one?
Dude, Mern Buchstanziger, man, this is the most depressing British troll I've ever met in my entire life. At least the trolls in Lord of the Rings had purpose.
Ooh, okay. Hey, you're here.
I am.
And I'm here.
You are.
And what does that mean?
It's Mern Buchstanziger time. No, it is time for yet another TekTalks.
Episode 23. Okay, so you ready for this little diddly?
Yeah.
We're kind of looking over, we're waxing poetic over the past year. Mm-hmm. Are you waxing?
And waning.
Okay. And I have had 422 different sessions with teachers this year.
Oh, biggity bam.
Yeah, right?
That's some business.
It is. It's okay, but here's one of the things that I have come to realize for some of our teachers.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't gone cloud yet.
No cloud.
Right. Do you remember the time that you went cloud where you just sort of like, or have you always been cloud?
No. Well, I mean, you couldn't have, right? There was always a time where things were on your computer, on your desktop in files.
Okay.
Then I think the first real jump to cloud was Dropbox, or there was the one with the elephant. Evernote was.
Oh, Evernote. Yeah.
Evernote was a thing.
That's right. Yep.
And then Dropbox changed to other formats, but then it really became Drive.
Right.
And we were in China before, and so we didn't really get the Google Suite thing because China doesn't like Google.
Right.
And then so Dropbox and Drive is just like so connected, and Dropbox is really just kind of a thing,
its own thing, right?
It's storage space in the cloud. And I think that was a big shift mentally to say I don't need a physical copy on my computer. I don't need that space anymore. But also I think that is, I break my computer, I lose my computer, I've lost everything. Yeah. I break that hard drive where all my files are sitting, I've lost everything.
You're done ski.
Yeah.
Sucks. But do you remember the time that you'd sort of like I gotta get up into the cloud? Do you remember like making that jump?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Would you?
year.
I remember again. Viewers, listeners, like Brandon's like what? What are you? 30 years younger than I am?
I don't know. How old are you?
I'm 52.
20 years younger than you.
Okay, so Brandon's 20 years younger than I am. Like, so I remember when email wasn't there.
Oh wow.
We just blew smoke signals. Rooms were really hot and stuffy.
Yeah, you had a lot of time on your hands.
But I remember having to make that leap, right? It's like, that realization, it's almost like a leap of faith where, like, I realize I don't need these files sitting on my desktop or in my hard drive when I can save them in the cloud.
Sure.
But you kind of have to give up a little bit of faith, trust. Like, what is it?
I don't know. You have to. I mean, there is a bit of faith in the internet.
Yeah, I have to trust
Am I going to have connectivity in order to gain access to my files? I think that is an
issue.
I think that's an issue that a lot of people have is, what if the internet goes down? I lose all my files, so on and so forth.
Right.
Which I think is something that...
That's a thing.
That's something that Drive addresses.
Yeah.
Right? But... the argument that what if the power goes out, it's like, all right, well, if the power goes out for a long period of time, we have larger problems than giving the education to the children of the world.
Yes, right.
But the idea of not having an internet signal, I think, is a very viable one.
Yeah.
And I actually do think that the Google Cloud does have an answer to that, but that's not necessarily what we're talking about today.
No, and in fact, we'll talk about that in another Tech Talk because there is actually a little app that you can download for your desktop that syncs your Drive folder to your desktop.
Sure. And so
which means you can work offline. But okay, aside from that, we're going to do another Tech Talk on that. But I think you and I can both agree that there was a moment in our academic careers where we did have to take a bit of a leap of faith and trust in
The cloud.
the cloud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now,
Gotta do it.
here I'm guilty of this. I think you're less so. I am guilty of not perhaps remembering how difficult that might have been, a process that might have been when I'm
Sure.
working with teachers that
Yeah.
maybe aren't there yet.
And I think the difference between when I did it is I did not have this large body of work to transfer.
Okay,
a lot
right,
of
yes.
what I have been moving, I've also just been creating in the cloud already, as opposed to moving things, because I'm still relatively early on in my career.
Right.
I'm not even at 10 years old yet in teacher years. So if a new teacher coming in, I think it's easier to say, well, I'm going to just start by putting everything in the cloud versus I have to move a terabyte of information over to that.
Yes,
That's a lot of stuff. I have to move some gigs of information.
Yes. I got stuff to move.
I just got stuff.
I got lots of stuff.
That's one of the things we're going to kind of address today.
We are.
First off, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office, Microsoft publishing stuff used to be the boss.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, believe that Microsoft word processing is better.
Yeah.
And I think that there are really strong arguments.
There's an argument
to say,
for that.
Yeah.
Right.
I know personally Microsoft is better to equation editor. So Microsoft is still a thing.
Of course.
And Word documents are still a thing.
Right.
But the problem is moving Word documents onto the Google Cloud. There's a formatting issue, but it's actually really easy to do.
It is, right.
And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about.
That is what we're going to be doing. But I would say, so the topic for today is really going digital.
Yep.
And as teachers are maybe kind of reflecting over the school year and maybe starting to think about their goals for next year, I think committing to the cloud and going digital, making that leap of faith would be step one. That actually is an important step. Step two, I think, is if you're a savvy, hardcore Microsoft suite user, the big downside for that in the academic setting is it is not collaborative.
Yes.
And that's something that the G Suite offers, and that I think that's important, right?
Yep.
That's an important thing. And again, you and I teach, and we live in a Google school.
Yep.
So step two then is trying to find some workarounds to make your stuff up in the cloud.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
All right, so
PDFs are easy.
Yeah.
They just kind of go there.
They do,
and
right?
They're PDFs.
There's no form.
But I really want to discuss Word documents.
Okay, all right. So here's what I have done for us.
Okay.
I have a Word document sitting on my desktop.
Ooh.
And I want to upload it into my drive and then turn it into a Google Doc.
Sure.
Okay, so let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go to my drive.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my digital repository in the cloud.
This is where things are going to go.
This is where things are going to go. Okay, so to demonstrate this, we are going to go to the New button, the big blue button over in the left-hand corner, and we are going to drop down the menu, take a look at what's there, but the thing that we're looking for is a file upload.
Yeah.
Done.
Pretty.
Okay. And then if you're on a Mac, it's going to, again, if you're on any computer, it's going to ask you where to go. We're obviously operating on a Mac. I have saved this in my Downloads folder, Brandon.
Okay, Downloads.
And you see that DocX? There it is.
It's been a while.
It's been
Good
a
old
while.
DocX.
Right. So we have just said to Google we want to upload this DocX, and there it is.
So let's see what happens when we open it. So now we see it's still in a Word format in Google.
Yep.
Right. So we open it, and it gives us kind of this view-only format.
You can't do anything, right? You can
Can't
scroll up and
edit.
down, but you can't get in there. You can't even highlight anything, can you?
Nope.
Yeah.
So if you again, moving things to the digital is fine, but if you wanted to work with this document inside of, you're going to have to
Open with.
change its format. So now we would go to open with
Google Docs.
Simple as that.
Yep. Now, this is going to transfer my Word doc into a Google Doc.
Yeah, and they're almost identical.
Yeah.
Like there's very little formatting that's lost
Now, do you know how we know?
in word processing.
How do we know? How do I know this is not a DocX? Because it says it is, but it isn't.
Right
Yes. If that were a Word document, Brandon, what would that little blue thing on your cursor be?
A W.
A W. It isn't. It's a line.
Yeah.
So we're going to rename that. I love what you just did there in terms of a convention. We want to take that docx designation off.
Yeah, and now this is your same file, but again, this is as a Google Doc. And if we go back
Show
into
us
here,
that. Yes.
If we go back over to here, there it is. It's just right there.
There's the Google Doc version of the course outline.
And now I can open it up, and it's editable in
Yes.
all the ways, many of the ways that Microsoft Word also works.
We looked at it. I had some sort of heading and some tab stuff going on there. Let's just scroll down. That formatting seems to be preserved.
Yeah.
It preserved my table. Did it preserve my links? Let's see if the Model UN Prep Guide.
Oh, yeah.
That link is still there. Okay, so some teachers, I think, are hesitant and saying, I don't like what Google Docs does with my uploaded Word files.
Yeah.
And, 5 years ago, I think that there was a very strong argument about that. But a lot of the formatting is intact.
Absolutely.
And as evidenced by this document that we've uploaded,
Yeah.
it isn't the most simple of documents. I had some links, I had a chart, and that really is all there is to it.
Yeah, it's really simple.
Okay, so back to the drive again, Brandon, if you could. Again, just show them the original Word document, and then it
did look exactly like this.
Yep.
And now this doc looks just like this.
Just like that, right.
And now this is a document that multiple people can work on.
Yep.
Easy to share.
Yep.
Most of the same functionality as any kind of Word document.
That's it.
And
Right.
it's so easy to just, and you can literally, if you wanted to, instead of using even, new file upload, you can just drag things into
Yes,
here.
you sure can.
Like if
Right.
if I had, let's say I had a Word document or a folder here full of Word documents, I could just drag it straight over.
Oh, if you're using Chrome.
If you're using Chrome.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're using Firefox, you're not able to drag folders over. Individual files, yes, but not folders.
That's good to know.
So it's another reason to use Chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I talk to teachers sometimes about they think that this is going to be a real painstaking thing, it doesn't necessarily have to be, particularly if you just commit to uploading and turning it into a Google Doc as your year unfurls, right? You don't have to do all this at one time. You can just kind of do it as the year goes on.
Yeah, and again, we were working in Microsoft Word last year and the year before, and it really is just a matter of bringing things over, uploading them, changing over to Google Docs, making maybe some formatting changes, some small stuff. But for a math teacher, it's really hard because we lose the editable equation format.
Yes,
but
right.
Other than that, very little doesn't transfer.
That's true.
It's really easy to move things.
All right, so that's it. That's all we got today.
Yeah.
This is me. I'm a tech integrator. I would encourage teachers to really think about making this leap.
Yep, and I think again, this is. I would say this is step 2. Step 1 would be digitizing things. Period.
Yes.
So if you have
moving from paper to digital.
Yeah, if you have hard copies and stuff, that's great. But just if you want to move things to the cloud first, we got to scan them, or there's a lot of different options.
Right.
Then moving them onto the cloud from a hard drive or from your desktop, I think, is step 2.
Yep.
And then step 3 would be any number of the Google Suite stuff.
Yeah, once you want to start modifying, collaborating, sharing, then it's ready to go when, maybe 2 years down the road when you're ready to
But
do
again,
that.
I think going from not having any of this stuff in the cloud to, full sort of Google app, applicable stuff
is
a 2 to 3 year process.
2 to 3 year process.
And,
Yeah, I would agree.
Be patient with it.
Yeah.
And, don't feel like you have to catch up all at once.
Yeah,
I think
because you don't.
Well, also your main goal should just be kids.
Yes.
And this is a project on the side, but the main goal is just teach.
Yeah, right.
Because in the end, who cares what we have in our hands and what we have in their files? It's all about the instruction. This is again a tool that's going to make us more efficient
and also
more
allow for collaborative, right?
More
yeah,
collaborative.
right. Yeah. But again, that takes time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate it. So this has been Kyle.
And Brandon.
And we're going to go out with a little Monbuk Stanziger.
Stanziger.
It was a hot day.
Not depressing at all.
Marin Stanziger hated the heat.
This is terrible.
In the
This
town,
is... We're out.
outside.